Daphne Carroll had spent 11 years building her reputation as one of the sharpest food and dining journalists in the city. She had reviewed Michelin-starred restaurants, interviewed celebrity chefs, and broken stories that changed how people thought about the food industry. Her pen was her weapon, and she knew how to use it. So when the invitation arrived for the grand opening of Elysian, the most anticipated restaurant launch of the decade, owned by billionaire entrepreneur Victor Hale, Daphne dressed up, grabbed her notebook, and walked in with the same quiet hunger she brought to every assignment. Elysian was breathtaking. Marble floors, cascading floral installations, a menu that read like poetry. Victor Hale had spared nothing. The room was packed with celebrities, politicians, and socialites, all bathed in golden light and champagne bubbles. Daphne moved through the crowd methodically, tasting, observing, scribbling notes. Then she took a wrong turn, looking for the restroom, a heavy door at the end of a narrow corridor. She pushed it open and found herself at the top of a staircase descending into dim light. Before she could take a single step down, a wall of muscle in a black suit blocked her path. "Private area. You need a special pass," the bouncer said, his voice leaving no room for discussion. Behind him, Daphne caught a glimpse of well-dressed guests disappearing below, men and women both, all wearing small red passes with a distinctive gold stamp. She was escorted back upstairs. Curiosity gnawing at her, Daphne found Victor Hale near the bar and asked him directly about the basement. He smiled his famous smile and told her it was still under construction, structurally unsafe, absolutely nothing worth seeing. His eyes, however, said something entirely different. Daphne went home and couldn't sleep. The next morning, her editor called her into his office. He looked uncomfortable from the moment she sat down, shuffling papers, avoiding her eyes. "You're one of our best writers, Daphne," he said quietly. She waited. He exhaled, but this came from above. "Victor Hale is our biggest advertiser. I don't have a choice." She stared at him for a long moment, watching a man she had respected fold completely under pressure. She cleaned out her desk without a word. But she didn't go home. She went back to Elysian, this time through the service entrance, after slipping a generous tip to a waitress and borrowing her uniform. Inside the kitchen's controlled chaos, Daphne moved with purpose, carrying plates, refilling glasses, watching. The pattern became clear quickly: red passes with gold stamps. Only guests carrying them were quietly escorted through that narrow corridor. Ultra-wealthy men and women, all wearing the particular expression of people accustomed to buying things that weren't for sale. She needed one of those passes. She spotted her opportunity at table 7, a man, red pass clipped to his breast pocket, 3 glasses of champagne deep. Daphne approached with a bottle and her warmest smile. "Sir, compliments of the house." She poured smoothly, and in that brief moment, dropped a small sedative tablet into his glass, the kind that causes nothing more than an urgent, uncomfortable stomach episode. He drank without suspicion. Within minutes he was pushing back his chair and rushing toward the restroom. Daphne followed at a calm distance, waited outside the door, and the moment he stumbled out disoriented, she unclipped the red pass from his pocket and disappeared back into the kitchen crowd. She was heading for the corridor when a hand closed gently around her arm outside the service exit. She spun around, heart hammering. "You don't want to go down there without knowing what you're walking into," the man said. He was in his 40s, gaunt, with tired eyes that had seen too much. "Who are you?" Daphne asked. "Someone who's been tracking Victor Hale for 2 years," he said. "This restaurant is his newest operation. I've been watching it since the day it opened. Who goes in? Who comes out? Who carries those passes?" He replied. His name was Tom Garrett. He had worked for Victor Hale's investment group, a sprawling empire that included luxury, anti-aging, and longevity companies. Daphne started to ask how that connected to a restaurant basement, but Tom stopped her. "Let me show you something first." He pulled out a worn folder. Photographs, documents, lab reports with dates and reference numbers. "What is this?" she asked. "Victor's real business," Tom said. "The restaurant is the front. The basement is the clinic. Experimental anti-aging treatments, the kind no regulatory body would ever approve. He sells access to the ultra-wealthy for sums most people will never see in a lifetime." He paused. "And the treatments aren't sourced ethically." Daphne looked up. "Children?" Tom's jaw tightened. He nodded once. "My daughter was taken from the hospital while I was in prison. Victor had me charged with fraud when I got too close to the truth. By the time I got out, she was gone. My wife didn't survive the grief." He closed the folder. "I've spent every day since building this case. Nobody will touch it." Daphne looked at the red pass in her hand, then at Tom. "Wait here." She disguised herself like the ultra-rich women headed to the basement. Expensive dress, borrowed furs, jewels, and a flair of superiority that suggested she was the kind of person who could buy anything she wanted, even even if it came at someone else's expense. She walked back inside. The first corridor she entered looked almost normal. Treatment rooms, soft lighting, staff in white coats moving quietly. Strange, but not alarming. She kept walking. The second hallway felt different. Hushed conversations stopped as she passed. Doors were closed quickly. Eyes followed her with quiet suspicion. She kept her pace steady. At the third door, she paused. Through the small window she saw equipment she didn't recognize. Clinical, cold, entirely out of place beneath a luxury restaurant. And that's when she found the room at the end of the hall. Her breath caught. Children, young and frightened, in conditions that made her stomach turn. Charts on the wall logged reference numbers, ages, treatment dates. Daphne's hands were trembling, but her phone was steady. She photographed everything. Every chart, every room, every face. Then she walked out of Elysian and didn't look back. Outside, she handed Tom the photographs without a word. He looked through them slowly. When he reached the last one, his hands stopped moving entirely. "We're burning this down," Daphne said. They worked through the night. Tom's documented evidence combined with Daphne's first-hand photographs and account. They sent an anonymous report to the local police and waited. 3 days passed. Nothing moved. Daphne called in every favor she had ever been owed. She had friends in Berlin, Tokyo, London, and Sao Paulo, journalists at organizations with global reach and zero fear of powerful men. One contact in Berlin hesitated. "This is a serious accusation, Daphne. If we get this wrong, we won't," she said. "I was in that room." A pause. Then, "Send me everything." 48 hours later, Victor Hale's name was blazing across every screen on the planet. The pressure was immediate and enormous. Elysian was raided within 72 hours. 114 children were found and rescued. Victor Hale's mansion was empty when authorities arrived. A manhunt spanning 4 continents began. Daphne's editor resigned quietly 2 days later. It didn't make headlines. It didn't need to. In the weeks that followed, parents arrived one by one. Some found their children, some were still searching. They found Daphne everywhere, at the police station, outside the hospital, at the press briefings, and they thanked her with the kind of gratitude that has no adequate words. On the 4th day, a social worker placed a little girl in Tom's arms. She had her mother's eyes. He didn't say anything. He didn't need to. Daphne walked home that evening and sat at her desk. She opened her laptop and started writing. Not for an editor, not for a publication, for the record, for the children, for every person who had ever been silenced by someone powerful enough to make inconvenient people disappear. Elysian was gone. Victor Hale had vanished. But places like that don't exist because of one man. They exist because powerful people are allowed to look away. Daphne Carroll had refused to.